because we're going to talk about shifting of the timelines. Remember, it does not matter what somebody else is doing in a hologram. As long as you keep the heart frequency and you start doing positive things with your thoughts, with your deeds, moment to moment, because you're going to crystallize a timeline, that negative structure no longer exists because they're not matching simply the frequency resonance, whatever you're creating. So all of a sudden you're going to see the change into infinite probability. Remember, we talk about infinite probability of how things can come, that all of a sudden you're going to see freedom for humanity. You're never going to know where it's going to come from, but all of a sudden you're not going to see chemtrails. For example, somebody can say, we discovered this person did something like that, and you're going to see you're already seeing the collapse of the system. It doesn't matter what they're doing. We said it's always going to end up in a positive right now because consciousness itself is an ascension process. As long as you stay in a heart structure, you're going to see the collapse of negative structures, negative systems. I'm not judging what they do. It's their belief system. The way they were taught, the way they created their ego, persona, and everything else is important. What is important for you to stay in that structure, to stay in a positive. In every level of society is going to be a collapse. And why is that? Because they no longer withhold the structure of positivity, the one that you are projecting. And you're going to see the transition of all this stuff. You're seeing it at every level. So I wouldn't take it as a negative. I'm going to take it as simply a transitioning time. And your goal is to constantly hold and project the positive frequency from the heart, the way we talk about, by giving. The way Cecilia ended up doing, I decided to just do by donation now. I decided because she's transitioning now, she wants to do that. If everybody start doing this on daily basis, do it once, do it twice. You don't have to do it. If you pay your bills right now in transition, you pay your bills. But after that, do something like this. This is how you're shifting. When no longer you will be a chemtrails. That's because you're not tuning your consciousness into, and you know 100% that you're moving into a new reality. So all of a sudden you're going to see somebody blew the whistle of whoever did it. Could be the banks, could be any type of institution. So tuning into positive structures, you may be aware the way we end up talking about cryptocurrency and the AI, but you can choose which one of these realities you're going to shift into by you holding certain vibration. Could be negative, could be positive. You can choose what reality you can create yourself. But what's happening here from the higher consciousness, from the universe, the vibration is rising more and more and more. So that's why you need to stay tuned in most of the time, and whatever you need to do so you don't miss, because more and more somebody is giving you vibration and you're rejecting that and you're tuning into a negative, for example, you're not going to be able to integrate all this new frequency that is coming because it's just so powerful. You cannot just take a very powerful pill. You have to slowly take and take and take. The way you detox, for example, you cannot just go at once. You have to slowly integrate so you don't shock your immune system. We're not talking about immune system here. We're talking about consciousness here. You don't want to shock your consciousness, because if right now, for some people, the extraterrestrial just pop up in front of them and they don't look very humanoid, you're going to be terrified because it's not integrated in your consciousness. You're not familiar with it. That's why everything that we talk about here slowly starting to integrate, especially through the quantum structure, because when something happens through timelines, you're not going to be confused what's happening. The most important thing is staying a positive, and all other realities with all this is happening is going to disappear, and you're going to shift into a completely new different timeline that all this negative stuff structures does not exist anymore. This is in Quantum Manifestation series. My suggestion is to go back on my website and you have Quantum Manifestation and just watch it again. Thank you so much for your question. Very good question.
This question came up earlier and I didn't ask because we kind of got offline, but this person is persistent and I appreciate persistence. So I'm going to ask this question. This one is from Dejan Bosevec. He says, how does one listen to one's heart? how to hear the heart's voice. That's his question.
Wow, what a good question. Well, they said, he's talking about his heart or somebody else's heart?
Presumably his own. In other words, if you're suggesting to people to listen to your heart,
he'd like to. My heart. Well, they literally said you are the heart. So listen to your thoughts. Remember, you are the entire universe and you are the entire structure. Guess what? My heart end up talking to me. When they end up switching, it will literally say, give me that and give me that. This is what's happening. Because the heart itself is a structure itself. So talk to your heart and listen to your thoughts. Remember these thoughts that are coming to you right away? You know, they're literally before your three-dimensional brain starting to override everything. So start talking to your heart. Have a conversation. Don't think that it's crazy. Literally start talking to your heart and call in immediately the answer that is coming. You're literally going to have a conversation by yourself or yourself. But remember, you are the entire universe. So even when you're talking to me, you're talking to yourself through a different holographic expression. So start talking to your heart and listen to immediately what it's going to tell you. That's how you connect. And it's not only the heart. This could be, you can talk to any part of your body. You can go into your DNA, imagine your DNA, go down to your DNA, and you can reconstruct your DNA. Follow your thoughts and follow exactly. Go into your DNA and you can reconstruct. Look into your heart, talk to your heart, say how beautiful you are, put health in your heart, visualize it how it's vibrating and is very beautiful, that is very healthy. And you have to believe 100% that this is your heart. And then with the 100% belief, take an action towards proper diet, proper behavior, start giving from your heart. And that's how you tune in. I'm telling you everything that they taught me and everything that I do in a daily basis. And that is the challenge, to be steady with that thing. I also tell you when I'm not very good and when I make mistakes, I also tell you that because that's my struggles. That's how I do it. You have to control your thoughts and emotions and deeds in a daily basis. Thank you so much. Very good question.
Okay. Thank you. Next up, we have Jennifer. Jennifer, you're unmuted. Welcome.
Thank you. Actually, that kind of answered the question I have, but what the question is that I just manifested a puppy, and there was a specific type I wanted, and I had been looking around trying to find exactly what I wanted, and I said, oh, forget this, I'm just going to manifest what I want. And I did exactly, and he came like a month later. Why is it? Is it because of the love and emotion that I feel for animals that I was able to do that so easily versus trying to manifest a car, which I don't have an emotional attachment to? But why was that so easy where manifesting a car is not?
Because the animal is a living being of a specific structure and vibration. And the car is simply a need that may be connected to your ego. You have to peel all the layers. Why do you really need a car? Do you need specifically this car? Because remember my video with the BMW that I crashed the BMW and how I started showing off, without realizing with my keys, because it felt good. And I had a argument with my son, and that I wanted to replace to feel good. So that was my replacement. Even was so silly, but I've realized what I was doing. So make sure that your desire is because you really need it, not because you want it. It's not wrong to ask for something nice, but it's really because you really need it or because you want to show off with it. It's very thin layer between the stuff. We got to understand that. It's very, very easy. It's like very sneaky, actually. It sneaks out to you like a virus. And by the time you realize what's happening, is full blown. You know, that's how it happens, because it's step by step, little by little. Oh, you feel good. Oh, let me fill it up again. Let me do more of that again, because it makes me feel good. And you start replacing something material with the one, because the puppy was from your heart. And the car has different vibration. It's not really from your heart, is it?
No.
Be very honest. Because only through the honesty, when we put the honesty why we really need certain things, will be the one thing that we basically gonna find out. Once you find out the core of all that, now switch it, now transform it. And if you need a car, maybe you wanna see, do you really need this car, or you can do something else?
Well, that's what is kind of funny, because the last thing I really need was another puppy. But I was allowed the puppy. But I think it's just...
The puppy needed truly love. The car really didn't need a love, is it?
Yeah.
Even is a part of the structure too, but remember, it's a different type of vibration.
Uh-huh.
This from the puppy is through the heart.
Okay. Exactly.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Very good questions, guys. Joe, we have more.
This
Bob,
is...
I want to thank you so much for your donation. Thank you very much.
Danza Cosmica wanted to know how to notice the difference between mind's talk and heart's talk. What's the difference between your mind talking and your heart?
Wow, such a good questions today, people. Oh my goodness.
And I have a few more. I've got like 5 more, Marina.
All right.
I'm ready to hang in there as long as you are. So.
We're fine. We'll definitely honor everybody today, because you have time, and as long as we're not pressure, you know, everything is fine.
Okay, no pressure, people.
Okay. So the difference, such a good question. This is very confusing with everybody, to be honest. Everybody. Now, the heart, everything from the heart is no condition. Everything that makes you feel very good, all right? When you know that when you do an action, and when you express yourself through action and your thoughts, remember your thoughts are vibrations, and even you don't tell to the person, they still end up going into the quantum structure. So don't think that you're not doing anything when nobody hears you out loud. You're projecting it into the quantum structure. So that's why watch your definitions of your thoughts. Try to control your thoughts. It's a lot of work. I never said it's not a work what we need to do. It's a lot of work. Okay. What's happening here with that is also, so when you make the person feel very good, I'm telling you, I've done this and I do this all the time. I've been in a store and I literally hear something and I just choose to go and help the person. And I sit with that person for half an hour. The joy of that person, to me, the fact that I just took my time and end up teaching them something without any expectations is priceless. You get and you start feeling a vibration and you're really feeling it. I've done it all the time. When I talk to you every day, I do this. And you get these goosebumps, and it's a certain that's a vibration. If you feel these goosebumps, almost like it's starting to get your hair, like, and you feel like from the whole body, waves of energy, trust me, this is exactly the frequency that you are getting. And the exchange there is the highest frequency you can possibly get. Because you've been given without any expectations, and is no, it's the highest consciousness is resonating on that. And that's how you manifest the best. And more you do that and stay in that state, more and more you're creating a timeline of bliss and abundance and manifestations of everything you wish to do when you stay in a positivity. What's happening here, when you start learning this stuff, you're gonna feel, remember I was talking about the sixth sense, you see somebody and you're gonna feel something is off with that person. You know something is off, you don't know what it is. Listen to that because it's coming from your heart. Your heart and your higher consciousness already knows that something is happening. You don't have to know what exactly, but always be aware. But what's happening is you may see somebody really very well dressed, and the talk is like, oh my God, it's incredible talker. In the meantime, in their personal life, they're very rude to people or beating their wives and anything. I can tell you about situations right now in communities that it's one thing they say is something completely different, and it's shocking what's happening, but it's a transition time. So all this, it's coming on the surface. So when you hear something like that, that person could be very well dressed, but if you hear about that and you know, you get a thought that something is off, listen to it. Do not start overriding it now from your brain of what you see, that the person is really dressed very nice and talk very nicely. But in the meantime, you had the first feeling that came in that something is odd with that person. Listen to that, because everything else is based on that belief system from TV, from your ego. Because you end up creating that if you really dress very nice and if you're really a gentleman, you're a very good person, you're a very good soul. Guess what? The deception in a lot of people in society is right there. They learn how to present themselves. In the meantime, they disguise in their true persona, who they are as a soul. So you have to make the difference. That's why you need to listen to your sixth sense and do not let your brain of what you see, maybe very good looking person, very well dressed or something like this, to disguise what you're really feeling from the heart. That was actually the manipulation. Because, you know, a lot of, for example, big singers, that they are very popular in music and they're so good looking and so, you know, cool. In the meantime, you go ahead and you end up beating up your girlfriend to the point that she was deformed. That's how you know, so listen to your heart first, listen to your sixth sense. The first thought that comes in is what you need to trust. And I've learned that hands-on. So overwrite that thing that comes through the mind, because sometimes you want to believe just because of what you see visually, and actuality is from your heart. All the stuff that we're doing right now, we're learning to go back into the heart. The highest vibration and the highest manifestation is through the heart, because there's no condition. It's to infinite amount of probability of manifestations with no conditions what you want to achieve. So do not overwrite with something visually that you see, because some people are incredible, or some situation looks so beautiful, and in the meantime, you knew at the moment you saw these people that something is off. Does that make sense to everybody? I'm sure all of you end up going through something like this. Yeah.
I didn't unmute everybody, but I get this collective sense of people nodding their heads.
All right. Yeah, I saw also, yeah, I saw Jesse also did it.
Okay. I have a question from Teresa. I'm going to unmute you, Teresa.
Celicia, thank you so much for your donation, Celicia Thompson.
Cecilia?
Yeah, Thompson. We had two of them. We had two Cecilias today. So thank you so much for your gifts. Alexia,
Okay.
thank you so much. Oh my God. Thank you guys. Thank you so much for your support. Alexia, thank you so much.
Teresa's question was, it was relating to something you were talking about earlier, but I'm sure that you'll be able to tie the two together. She asks, so should we get involved in this society, per se, buying a house, investing in the markets, etc.? In other words, is it worth it to do it within the construct as it exists today, with the promise that maybe it'll shift and change? Or should we not participate in the way the world works today?
Very good question. I had a very big lessons from them. If you guys remember how I had friends of mine, because they supposedly know certain people, they were calling me, they were telling me, Marina, the system is collapsing, you better invest in this money and you better invest in that money. And I end up in panic. If everything else I've learned, I panic and I said, oh my God, what's happening? And I want to listen what my guidance was teaching me. In a quantum structure, you can manifest anything, right? When I didn't have money, my son needed, I get up and literally pop out in front of me. But I took everything through fear. So I start, literally, what happened was they taught me a lesson. Remember the BMW lesson? Now I got another lesson from them. Because I went in so much fear, I usually get lessons from them physical. So they told me, okay, go ahead and put in a bank account $500. Oh no, take out of the bank $500. Then with $200, we need you to go and buy this and buy that for 2 weeks food. Here I am running like a crazy person, getting the money out, preparing food and putting dry food around because the system is going to collapse, for 2 weeks they were telling me. Well, nothing happened. And I go, okay, so now I know that they proved themselves so much for me to trust them. Why would they do something like that? But what happened was, they said to me like that. And I'm saying this example to tell you exactly, because that's going to give you the idea exactly how they taught me. That is an illusion. If you perceive that information and you panic, what you're doing is you're lowering your vibration. And once you lower your vibration, anything that exists in a negative structure that is implementing obviously something to manipulate humanity, you actually end up tuning in the negative structure because your belief system of fear end up dropping your frequency from the positive of the heart into the negative. So now anything that exists in another timeline of reality that is implementing systems like this, you end up catching because you're still staying on the vibration of fear and you're taking action through the fear. So what happened is I end up listening to somebody and I'm saying, wait a minute here. I said, you end up teaching me, and this happened second time when nothing happened. I said, okay, I didn't listen, right? Second time this is happening and here I am, they did this to me second time because I wasn't getting it. I was staying into fear. So they did this to me second time. And I'm going, oh my God, what's happening here? But while I did it second time, I prepare money again. I put money again second time because they tell me, no, this is for sure something is happening. And here I am now, I'm doing it second time because, that was for sure. And this was from the hybrids. And if you remember, the hybrids told me 2 years prior to that time what's going to happen to my family. So I trust everything I said because everything happened. So here I am now, I'm doing everything, but I was listening, somebody was talking about realities again. And I was sitting in the car picking up my son at that time, was at school. And I'm saying, wait a minute, I said. I can manifest anything I want in my hologram. Why am I, if I can manifest anything in my hologram, why am I taking money again? And why am I doing this again? I was complaining now. Why are they making me do this if I can shift to any type of reality? And they said to me, oh, finally you get it. How many times we have to teach you a lesson in order for you to understand that you don't have to do this through fear, because at the moment you take an action through that fear, you end up crystallizing this reality. Does that make sense to everybody? You're going to tune in into a timeline that things like this exist, and you're going to project it and eventually to become a reality for you. So your action should be from your heart because you really feel like moving, or you really want to do something else, or you want to move to a new house, is not your own. But do not move and do not take an action because of fear that something is happening. At the moment you start doing this, you drop in your frequency and you start projecting completely different realities that all that exist. Stay in a positive. You may hear cryptocurrency, you may hear everything. You may hear AI. We discuss fifth dimensional AI, which is from the heart. Why not tune in into this? So what you need to do is to believe 100% that the positive frequency of is there, and you manifest everything in 100%, and you stay in a positive no matter what you see somebody is doing. You staying in a timeline of a positive. Even if you lose something, do not worry, because that could be a transition. Remember, the toughest part here is for these teachings is to stay in a positive. That's why I'm giving you examples how I end up dropping my frequency today by fear. And I switched my emotion into positive and I said, oh, I have everything I need. Why? Because I didn't want to put a condition in my hologram, and I didn't want to drop my emotions and frequency so I can create something that I don't want to. Shift your emotion and your deeds, whatever you do through the day, into the positive, and do not take an action if you want to move whatever through fear. If you're going to take an action, let it be to the heart, because you really feel like doing something nice, doing something different. There's nothing wrong with that. So if you learn to do that, that means you have to learn to shift your emotions. Remember, pull out, give a gratitude of everything you have, and now transform your emotion into positive by knowing that you have everything you need, and take an action to that vibration now, to that level of feelings. That's how you're going to take the action. So you're shifting from the negative to the positive, because you end up, that is very good. If you end up recognizing your fear, that is perfect, because your consciousness is telling you, oh, you end up shifting your vibration into a lower frequency. That doesn't mean it's negative frequency. Your consciousness is showing you that you end up dropping, you end up shifting. Because negative, what is negative? If some people feel that they need to destroy somebody, this is their belief system. They don't think it's negative. It's just simply a different point of view. So energy is energy. But you, from your belief system, recognize that you end up dropping it. Well, shift it by your deeds and by your emotion, and take an action towards somebody else or whatever you want to do. So if you move, please do not move because of fear. Move because you really feel like moving, or because you want a bigger house. Yet, why do you want the bigger house? Because the family is big, or because you really want a better garden? Think your definitions. See, always peel and always search your ego. Why do you really need to do that? Once you stop peeling off, your honesty towards yourself is the biggest thing that you can do, because your honesty is going to show you exactly what you've been doing. And once you get to the bottom of that, then you start doing the shifting, because it's going to be very clear for you which way and when you want to do whatever you want to do. Does that make sense, guys?
Okay, I have a few more questions, and here we go. This one is from Tony. He asked me to ask it on his behalf. He says, I need help shifting out of tiredness, dullness, and a scattered mind to move towards more clarity, joy, and a joyful frequency. What do you have to share with him on that?
Oh, thank you. Yes, thank you so much. Very good question. Now, remember, your consciousness is projecting also frequencies, what you project in a holographic field. So sometimes it's very difficult for you just to meditate all the time, that, oh, let me just meditate and be in a positive. When I was very upset one time, I literally extracted myself from the situation, removed myself from the situation, went ahead and listened to somebody else's video. So when you end up in a situation like that, when you know that you have a difficult time just to sit down and meditate, do something physical, like watch a movie. But when you watch a movie, pick up a movie that is positive, that you know is going to make you feel very good. For example, the other day I was watching Stargate with Kurt Russell. Even they talk about the entity that Ra, keep in mind that Ra was not negative entity, okay? But they were implementing that movie that Ra was negative entity. That's not the case. But the reason why I was watching this movie, because it was showing me extraterrestrial, it was showing me Stargates. And I was seeing how they discovered the Stargate, how they moved to another reality. It made me feel very happy. I stayed in a very positive frequency. And I was aware that whatever they were talking about, Ra, was not the reality. So the whole time I felt, so if that is not the thing that you want to watch, then put a nice music. The nice music that you're going to discover that it resonates with you, when at the moment you start listening, you get a goosebumps. When you get a goosebump, this is the highest frequency that your consciousness and body resonates on. That's how you know. So I'm giving you exactly the platform how you know when you resonate. The same thing with movie, the same thing with somebody when you see somebody makes you very happy, your heart, your consciousness, higher self is literally showing you that person is resonating with you. That's how you know. So in order to do that, put yourself in a constant motion throughout the day with something positive. Watch something positive, listen to something positive, and do something positive. Do something simply because you want to make somebody smile. Remember the video, the stuff that I was in a mall and I saw this lady. I felt that she didn't have money and she was watching in Victoria's Secret these perfumes and of $10 or whatever. I was sitting with my friend Diana. I said, Diana, let me show you now how you can do goodness. See what we're gonna do. We're gonna get energy. I literally went after her. I saw the lady on the side and I went ahead, because I pay close attention what she liked. I went ahead and I bought for $10 or $11 it cost me to buy this little spray that she liked. And I wait for her outside. When she walked out, I went to the lady and I said, Merry Christmas to you. That lady almost fell off on the ground because she could not believe what I did. The day she saw what I got for her. And she almost started like in tears, went inside to tell him what I did. But the reason why I did that is because I wanted to stay on a positive frequency. Just her reaction was the frequency I was getting. And that's what I want. And I got in goosebumps like that. This is the little things that we can do for each other, for strangers, for anything else, because I'm telling you, this is the highest resonance. That's how you collect the positive frequencies. So if you do that during your day, when you're sad and when you drop something like this, always take an action to something positive so you can stay in a positive frequency. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Marina. Okay, the next question is coming up. And by the way, thank you, Tony. I appreciate you asking that question.
Yes, thank you.
The next one is from Cecilia. We have three more. Cecilia is...
Hello.
Cecilia, there you are.
Thank you, Joe. Hi, Marina. It's just very quick questions. There's actually two of them. And one of them is in general. I have information that I've received in my dreams. And the problem is that when I wake up, I can't remember. And I know there is a lot of information. It's like downloads. Is it because I don't have the frequency for it or not ready for it yet? Or
no, not because you don't have the frequency. This is how now you're giving yourself a permission to connect to another level. But my suggestion is do lucid dreaming. I was talking about lucid dreaming so you connect, because you can do a lot of lucid dreaming before you start doing this. But you can do it simultaneously. So the way I did with lucid dreaming, I found a book of Nick Barrett. And he's also on YouTube. And I bought his books and I watched his videos. Nick, N-I-C-K Barrett, B-E-R-R-E-T, I think, double T. And he's on YouTube. Put Nick Barrett on YouTube, Lucid Dreaming. And I think I also have his book on my website. I think you can buy it from my website store. From there, I think I have his book. Oh yes, I do have his books. So I
Nick Barrett.
My website store.
okay.
So it took me 2 weeks to train. I was training, and I ended up waking up the second week lucid. And it's very easy. Make sure you don't panic when you wake up. Stay calm, because then you can pop out of the reality and wake up. But every time I woke up, I opened up a portal. I knew immediately to open a portal. I wanted to go to the spacecraft every single time, and I was not allowed to get into, because I had to do it through this reality, not, they said, because remember I was telling you lucid dreaming is like this reality, but not a pamphlet.
Yes.
But sometimes it's challenging. So if you want to tune in, learn lucid dreaming and see what you can do to it, because maybe this is your permission slip. So you can start doing that, because maybe you decide with your guidance to connect with them that way.
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry.
So explore that. See how that is going to go, and don't give up, because for me it was 2 weeks, for you could be 1 month.
Okay.
Don't give up. Just stay. The best thing I can give you advice when I was doing that, I know the suggestion was to every 2 hours, you put the clock and you wake up. Make sure that the clock doesn't scare you. Make sure you put very low tone, something that is not going to stress you out when you wake up, and you have to be in a state still of sleeping and have a notebook and you got to write right away. But what I taught myself, the way he suggested in another video, to train my brain to know that I'm going to wake up in the middle of the night. And when I woke up in the middle of the night, I still remember that. And I end up right in my dreams.
Yeah.
But then I end up waking up lucid.
Okay. My second question is, I did have a regression with Dolores Cannon technique, in which the higher self spoke to me and told me everything that will develop. I started as a transformation. It's just said that the information was very powerful and it was coming. And my question is, I thought about becoming or taking the technique myself. My point with all of this is that I want to help people, and I want to do it since I learned and I saw you right after that. I met you through online. I want to do it that way too. It's not about the money, it's about giving. Yes, thank you. Actually, my question is, should I actually pursue something like that, or simply just wait until things develop through the higher self until I get ready? Will that affect it or interfere with it?
Very good question. When is the manifestation for you? When is manifestation?
It's been a progress, I guess.
No, manifestation is in the now.
Okay.
So why do you need to know for later? Then you can start implementing it in the now. Accordingly to that vibration in the now, whatever you project right now, your next hologram will end up construct. So whatever the vibration of right now you're doing, this is your next shifting. So why not do it now?
So I don't have to wait.
You have to believe 100% for that. But yet, if you need to gather information, I mean, don't wait for later to, for example, 2 weeks to get something. You can start tuning in, you can start learning, you can start exploring at the moment. And you have to believe 100% that you definitely know how to do that. You know how to do that. If you, the reason why this is already, you the second or the third person tell me I found you literally after I did that, that's because you end up resonating in my frequency. That's the reason why you found my material, because you were ready for the quantum structure. If you were not ready, I would never pop into your reality. So you end up searching the entire to infinity holographic expression of the universe, and you found me with this material. That's because we're running in a similar resonance. That's the reason why. So your manifestation is now. So when you want to take an action, don't think that you're not ready, you don't have the abilities. No, you must know that you have the abilities and take an action towards it. Because there's no way that you don't have the abilities. Why? You're the entire structure. You're the one particle. And from your own structure, you project in every single one of us right now. You're talking to yourself.
Okay. The higher self, it said that I will help people by talking to them. And when I see them, and I will see everything in their face, from their face like symbols, and I will interpret them and will help them to guide them to their right path.
Yes, because you're going to see patterns of geometry structure. That's why.
Okay.
You're going to read it right away. Every face is a specific pattern, and is also geometry and says specific code. And what you're going to be doing, reading their code, is going to simultaneously knowing. That's quantum knowing.
Okay, because it says this, I will see it all, present, past, and future. It's all there, and I will be able to guide them.
There's no time, everything is in the now. So all these channels of that person that is running, you literally gonna see it simultaneously.
Okay.
Every single one of us right now is living in a different place in US or England. How is it possible that we're talking at the moment at the same time? See how everybody is running in a different timeline of reality, and everybody has their own parallel reality, and yet we're coexisting in the zero moment. Because right now you're seeing simultaneous multiple parallel realities that we are talking to in 1 0 point. So here's a hologram of multiple realities at the same time running. Does that make sense now?
It does, definitely.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
I indicated an order, so I'm going to go back to Elizabeth. Elizabeth, you're unmuted. If you can ask one question, we can get through this and save a recording. Thank you.
Hi. I just had a question actually about ascended masters and on your opinion, because I've heard so many, stories that there are the good ascended masters, and then there are some that are all have been created by, I guess, higher beings that don't have good intentions. So I was just wondering what
question.
your intake is on it.
In a universe, everything exists. The negative and the positive exist. They're simultaneously running. Okay, energy is simply energy. Depending on the point of view, you see the stuff. Because if you are born in a family that's saying that people are animals, in specific bloodline that you are running to, for example, if you're only Bulgarian, the way I'm Bulgarian, only the Bulgarians are the best in the world. And then you're gonna think that and that's being indoctrinated to you, you're gonna think the rest of the world is like lower than you. So how can you blame a consciousness like this when it's obviously being implemented? Now that consciousness may learn certain lessons, but yes, so there's different realities. But remember, the different timelines of reality. One could be negative, one could be positive. Depending on where you're switching and where you go, everything exists in the universe. So, but if you stay in a negative frequency, basically, if you're not nice to people, if you did very negative stuff, or you accumulated through different realities, negative structures, then you're connecting with the negative entities that they exist in the universe because you resonated in a negative frequency. Look at how many people today end up finding me because I resonated in their frequency. The same thing is happening with the high consciousness or with the entities that basically are operating in a different structure, because they're recognizing who you are and they know that they can exist in your structure, so they can overtake you. They can do anything that is possible because you end up allowing yourself by your actions, by your deeds, to end up in a situation like that. Or simply you accumulated so many negative lifetimes of basically the stuff that you did before, that now you have to come in this negative reality to learn so you can go into the positive. So everything that you accumulated, you got to learn that it was not the right thing to do. You have your lessons, and if you pass your lessons, you graduate and you move into a higher realm and higher, because you need to learn your lessons. You cannot just skip from first grade and graduate. You have to go. So think of it as a graduation, and every level there's something different. How would you know how to manipulate positive, negative when you don't know the difference? If I just put those two symbols for you, for example, which one is positive and negative for you? Somebody, you're not gonna know because nobody gave it the definition. Well, in a universal structure, in a universe, this doesn't matter. It's simply symbols of energy. But guess what? Once you give a definition, and if I tell you this is positive and this is the negative, then you're gonna know that this symbol is in a negative and this is in a positive because I gave you definition. Until that time, was simply energy symbols for you. So that's how it works. So once you start doing this stuff, you have to understand that the extraterrestrials, there are different entities of positive or negative. but you will see them depending on how you vibrate, whatever you accumulated, and whatever you chose to experience, so you can learn the positive and the negative. How are you going to learn how to interact with people and how to connect to people if you don't know what is to be abused, what is to be in the street, what is not to have money? How can you relate to the person in order to be a master? We become masters. All of you, when you choose to go and follow the path of energy philanthropy, is you becoming a master of teaching somebody else of all this stuff. How are you going to do that without knowing what is positive and negative? So yes, there are positive and there are negative entities, extraterrestrials. Higher consciousness is different. Above the extraterrestrial races, there's a higher consciousness running. And that's why higher consciousness, which is connected through the heart, and the whole consciousness itself can override somebody's bylaw, timelines, and agreements, including for the extraterrestrials. Anything that happened, they're working together with the ETs, because the Council of Nine, you guys know that is above ET, you know, they're working together, and the decisions that were made, they will say, oh, we had a meeting and this was what we'll talk about. And they will tell me what they talk about, what decision was made. It's all collaboration. But when I'm talking, because, you know, for example, this is the high consciousness there, and I'm here, you know, nerd, what's happening here? Am I not connecting to timelines with them, and they with them, and it's back and forth? How many different timelines I'm connecting at the same time? For me, this is 3, but could be multiple. Everybody is doing the same thing. When do you think when you have lucid dreaming? This is not coming from your 3-dimensional. This is coming through another pamphlet of reality. How come you're dreaming? That's because it's simultaneously running these realities, and you're tuning into. So don't even think that you're not talking to them, to higher self or higher consciousness. And when you see something that is negative, transform it. I'll give you an example. I had a dream. In my dream, I saw a very big, scary snake. At that time, they were teaching me all this stuff. But for some reason, I've realized that if I take the snake and I hug the snake instead of fighting with the snake, I end up transforming the snake to me loving the snake. And the snake became very little baby snake. It was so cute that I was holding it in my hand. And I love that little snake. And I did that in my dream. That's how you transform everything. So it doesn't matter if you see a negative structure, project positive at all time, because negative structure cannot simply withhold the positive frequency that you're going to be giving on and on through your heart constantly. And all of a sudden you're going to transform, and you're going to not only you're going to transform this entity that you're dealing with, but you're also going to shift to another reality of a timeline. Was that clear enough, or was it too complicated?
No, that was clear. I actually feel them coming in through my heart. So I guess that's the way I've been able to distinguish what feels real and lovable to me. I guess that's the way I've done it.
So you're already learning how to just get to this point very well. And then you're going to start listening to all of you. You're going to start listening to thoughts that coming in. So now you got to learn how to trust your thoughts. So not to override with the brain, but the first thought that comes in, you need to trust that thought and see how it's going to implement for you. Is this whatever I heard is becoming true? And that's how you're going to know how you're tuning in, because some people tell me, well, I hear, but it's not coming true. Well, don't override it. Try it again. If the first thought, you ask a question when you meditate, write in a book immediately what the answer is. Don't try to override it because of your belief system. Even if the answer is so crazy, because remember, the harmonic reactor in the nanomaterial was all downloaded material entity that you're dealing with, but you're also going to shift to another reality of a timeline. Was that clear enough, or was it too complicated?
No, that was clear. I actually feel them coming in through my heart. So I guess that's the way I've been able to distinguish what feels real and lovable to me. I guess that's the way I've done it.
So you're already learning how to just get to this point very well. And then you're going to start listening to all of you. You're going to start listening to thoughts that come in. So now you got to learn how to trust your thoughts. So not to override with the brain, but the first thought that comes in, you need to trust that thought and see how it's going to implement for you. Is this whatever I heard is becoming true? And that's how you're going to know how you're tuning in, because some people tell me, well, I hear, but it's not coming true. Well, don't override it. Try it again. If the first thought, you ask a question when you meditate, write it in a book immediately what the answer is. Don't try to override it because of your belief system. Even if the answer is so crazy, because remember, the harmonic reactor in the nanomaterial was all downloaded material. That must have been completely out of my mind then, because this was all new stuff that I never even heard of. So let it be, let it flow.
Yeah, don't stop it.
Thank you. Yeah, don't stop it.
Yes, makes sense. Thank you.
Oh, and by the way,
Thank you, Elizabeth.
I wanted me to mention that if you hear negative thoughts, transform it by neutralizing it. You're gonna say, thank you for showing me that you're here. I've done this. I was thought about that. Transform it into negative to a positive by giving a gratitude to say, thank you for being here. Have a conversation without judging, without saying, oh, you stupid, you can't say this to me, no matter what you hear. Once you stay in a positive and transform and say, thank you, I love you, no matter what you hear, I know I'm positive, I know I'm loved, and you transform it, that's how you transform it. That's how you stay on a steady frequency of positivity. Okay?
I have this from Roger.
Hi, Roger.
Last night, instead of going home, I sat outside a petrol station. That's a gas station here in the U.S., listening to something on the internet. Today, my son picked me up in his car, and we parked in exactly the same place for about the same time. Is it something neither of us? It's something neither of us would ever do, and it seems funny. Is there a profound meaning behind this?
Yes, it is. Thank you, Roger, for your question. Yes, it is, because right there is how it's showing you the synchronicity telepathically. I've done this. A lot of us have done this. This is how it works. You really don't need the phones and actually to do that, by the way. This is what I'm talking about, how technology is just a very good tool that we got to go through. But in actuality, your own consciousness can set up this with anything. You can talk telepathically to anybody. You can bilocate. You can literally meet with somebody like that. That's because it was showing you absolute synchronization in your frequencies and your desire to meet, and that's why this works. In consciousness is a perfect synchronicity. There's no mistakes. So thanks for your question.
Okay. I also have one from Alex. It says, the scenario my family is currently in would have frightened me, maybe as recent as a year ago. Now it's a feeling of confidence and that I have what I need. Does that mean I'm getting it? In other words, he's not as bothered about his circumstances as he might have thought he would have been.
And yes, very good. Thank you. Yes, and yet you can completely let go. Remember, you can go and transform now, and you're going to go and think that your family is really good, that you're having a good time. Make a movie in your mind, like a script of your family and you, and how everybody is interacting very nice with each other, how you guys understand each other. And I want you, when you make that movie scenario in your mind, in your consciousness, to believe that this is 100% true. I want you to feel the vibration, how much you love your family, no matter what they've done, because what you will try to do is to shift yourself and to have completely different outcome in a positive with your family, because your family is not going to be your family. You actually end up creating a new hologram, new timeline, and you end up imprinting the images from your consciousness from your family. I talk about this stuff a lot of times. So tune in transform everything with your family. And that's for everybody. You can transform everything every time like that. by 100% believe that this is true. Remember, the 100% is the manifestation in the now. I want you, when you do this stuff, guys, to feel 100% that this is true. Even if you see that still is not change, remember, you need to crystallize it. You got to make it very potent. Even if you keep coming in the negative, you keep transforming and transforming and transforming, overriding it constantly with a positive, because if you think of it, if you think that reality with your family, that everybody is looking very nice and everybody is very nice to each other, loving each other, that means that this timeline of reality already exists. You end up finding it and extracting the information out of it. And not only this, you end up creating it at the same time because there's no time.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much. We talk about this in a quantum manifestation, mobilizing structures. Part 2, I think that was part 2. So look into these videos.
Thank you, Marina.
You're welcome.
Okay, everybody. We've been on for 2 hours.
Yes.
We're going to have to call it here because I want to make sure that this recording actually gets saved. I want to thank you all, one and all, for joining us. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your donation, guys. We truly appreciate it, Joe. Thank you.
I'm going to unmute everybody so you can say goodbye.
Thank you, Marina.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.